Arsenal have just beaten Newcastle United to guarantee their place in the UEFA Champions League next season. And for Newcastle United, they've got it all to play because it all goes down to the last day of the season. 3 teams on 66 points, Man City on 65 points. With a game in hand, they play Bournemouth midweek, so they could be on 68 points going into the last game in the season. It's still in Newcastle's hands, but that game was incredibly frustrating, and I'm sure every single Newcastle fan will feel the same. Why is it we'll play so well in the first half, and then the second half will look like a different side? We look like a championship side today. It was men against boys in that second half. But the first half, we should have been leading at half time. We looked the most dangerous side. We created the better opportunities. Arsenal might have had more of the pressure, but the way we were breaking when we had the ball and attacking with intent made us believe that we could win that game. And if only we showed that same enthusiasm, that same courage, that same belief in the second half, we could have easily got something out of this game. If you can't win the game, make sure you don't lose a game. If you had offered me a point before today, I would have probably have taken it. But now we'll come away with nothing. And in true Newcastle United fashion, we'll go into the last day of the season with squeaky bums. It's squeaky bum time because Everton, they've picked up, but I hope, and I just hope they're on the beach because they've had their celebrations of leaving Goodison Park. Now they're not even concentrating on this Newcastle game because if you look at that Premier League table, we can still not qualify for Champions League football. And if there's one thing that game against Arsenal highlighted is our squad depth. So I want to talk about the positives before we get on the negatives, because good news that Sven Botman played, because I think he brings a lot of composure to our backline, to our general overall play. But bad news, Alexander Isak just wasn't in the squad with an injury. So I don't know whether he's going to be fit for Everton. Hope he is, because if we perform like that, like today, we need a clinical finisher. And with Alexander Isak missing, that is not what you want going away to Arsenal, because we've seen what Alexander Isak can do against Saliba. He's given the runaround the past 3 games. So we needed somebody with Alexander Isak's profile to just run off the ball, get him behind, just cause a little bit of chaos in that final third. And I feel like Callum Wilson did okay, he did better than I thought, but it still wasn't enough to really be penetrating and clinical in that final third. We had the better opportunities, especially in that first 15 to 20 minutes. Wilson and Bruno's chance, I kind of feel like Wilson should have shot, but he laid it back to Bruno, and we all know what happened. Then Tino had a chance, just lacked that composure. The ball kind of like got stuck under him. Maybe if it had been somebody that was more clinical, we could have went 1-0 up. But those first half chances, you have to be clinical. In a game like this, when you're going away to whoever's second in the league and you're third, you've got to be decisive and you've got to take your chances. Because if you don't take your chances, they'll end up getting chances. And if they take their chances, they'll end up winning the game. And that's exactly what happened. But looking at that first half solely, there was definitely positives. And at half time, I felt like Newcastle give us unrealistic hope, because I honestly thought we were going to go on to win that game, because Arsenal looked a bit shaky. You could see that when David Raya was in possession, he was giving the ball away. He gave it to Sandro Tonali, and then he had another one just after that. And then we were making David Raya pull off some unbelievable saves. He pulled off some outstanding saves, and the opportunities were coming for Newcastle United. And to be fair, Nick Pope pulled off a good save in the first half, but that double save from Raya was magnificent. So we were getting into good positions, but we just weren't really clinical. And I actually thought in that first half, we were very good. I thought we attacked with pace, we attacked with intent. I thought Bruno ran the show in the middle of the park. And I just thought there was a little bit of belief from Newcastle United, and that's what I wanted to see. The difference with Newcastle United is now when we go to games like Tottenham away, Arsenal away, United away, Chelsea away, we can actually go toe-to-toe, but it just doesn't last the 90 minutes. If we had that performance for the full 90 minutes, I kind of feel like we would have won that game. So in the first 25 minutes, we had 8 shots, 5 were on target. So to me, that felt like we weren't just coming here for a draw. We wanted to win this game, and I actually really respect that from Eddie Howe and the boys. And as far as 0-0 goes, it was an entertaining 0-0. Both teams were going forward, looking like they wanted to win this game. I thought we moved the ball really well. We trusted each other in possession. It was nice one-touch passes. I mean, Bruno looked like the old Bruno. Opening 20 minutes, he had 22 touches, and he completed 18 out of 18 passes. That's pretty much playing on his first touch. And that's exactly what you want to do when you go to away to Arsenal. Don't dwell on the ball, move the ball early, try and exploit the space. And I thought we did that in the opening 25 minutes of the game, and I was really pleased with our performance. So going into half-time, I kind of felt like we deserved to be leading. Arsenal had more of the ball, but we looked more dangerous. This formation sets us up nicely to break quickly, and that's exactly what we did. We had everything in that first half, barring a goal. And then going into half-time, I was actually quite pleased with our performance. I was thinking, we look good. We're going toe-to-toe with Arsenal, and then everything just changed. We looked like we didn't even come out of the dressing room. I don't know what was said at half-time, but our performance in that second half was flat, lackluster. We had no energy, no intensity, and we allowed Arsenal to just dictate the game. They looked so much better in that second half, and that was because we looked so much worse. We couldn't get a hold of the ball. We couldn't string two passes together. We just looked absolutely flat. And it reminded us of that Chelsea game. Felt like the only team that wanted to win that game in that second half was Arsenal. It was baffling because we went toe-to-toe in every department in that first half. And I really didn't like that second half. I don't know why he brought Harvey Barnes off before Anthony Gordon, because in my opinion, Harvey Barnes was at least being threatening. He was getting into good positions. He was taking up. He was occupying pockets of space. He was causing Arsenal a little bit of trouble, not having his best of games. But I kind of feel like Anthony Gordon was just miles off it today. I need to be honest. I don't think he was great at all. And if there's one thing in that second half that showed us, we've got zero squad depth. Looking at the bench, we had nobody that can come on and really change a game, really cause Arsenal big problems. I thought Asula played quite well when he come on, but he was probably the only one. And the biggest difference I noticed in that second half was our positioning. We defended 5 yards deeper, which allowed Arsenal to attack 5 yards forward. So they were attacking further up the pitch. So they were causing us more problems. And this is what I want to show you. If we look at Arsenal's average positioning in the first half to when they made a substitution, and they brought number 2 off for number 33. And I'm going to say the numbers because the names aren't on there. So look at number 2 in that first image, right? Then look at number 3 in that third image. In the second image, sorry. What they did was they pushed Calafiori into midfield, so they always had that overload in midfield. So whenever they had the ball, they always had that spare man in midfield. And we just didn't do anything to counteract or to adapt our formation to really prevent them from doing that. So every time Bruno went to press the ball, Arsenal had 2 options. If Tonali was marking one, they just played it the other, and vice versa. So they were just playing around in that second half. And that goes to show in our formation as well. The first one is from the first half. Look how higher up we're defending, right? Look at Callum Wilson's positioning. Look at Anthony Gordon's positioning. Tonali's positioning. They're all the same. But the ones I want you to keep an eye out on is our substitutes positioning. Number 18, number 67, and number 17. We were defending. We were pretty much in a lower block. So we weren't pressing the midfield as much as we were in that first half. And if you look at number 4, Sven Botman's number, from the first image to the second image, it's not existent in the second image. So when Kraft came on for Sven Botman, we had nobody stepping into midfield and trying to win the ball back higher up the pitch to prevent Arsenal playing through the lines. And that allowed us to just sit back, and invite pressure on. Then when we did win the ball, we had no outlet because Callum Wilson came off. And look, we've got nobody to aim for in that second half. That's the difference. And it baffles me that we allowed Arsenal to do that to us in the second half. The thing is, I'm just incredibly frustrated with the performance. It hasn't been a bad season. We're sitting 3rd in the league. We haven't signed anyone for our senior team in the past 3 windows. So we're actually achieving above our means. And it's been a very, very, very good season with the tools that we've got. We're sitting 3rd in the Premier League. That's exceptional. But you're okay to criticise a performance. I'm not criticising the season as a whole, because I actually think not a lot of teams can do what we're doing at the moment. Not signing anyone for 3 windows and then still compete at the top end of the Premier League is exceptional. You've just got to look at Man United and Tottenham to see what an unbelievable achievement we're going through this season. But it's okay to criticise a performance. I'm not criticising the first half because I generally think we went toe-to-toe and really went at Arsenal in that first half. But in the second half, there was a complete drop-off. And that's okay to criticise it, because if we don't call it for what it is, and if we play like that against Everton, we might not get 3 points. So we need to book up our ideas for 90 minutes. Can we continue that performance for 90 minutes? We've done it in the league already, where we beat Crystal Palace 5-0, where we beat Man United at home. So we've had a lot of performances where we are switched on for the full 90 minutes, but we cannot let ourselves get in that mentality where we just look lackluster and there's just no energy. We just need to keep it up for 90 minutes. Going away to Arsenal is always difficult. Not many teams go there and win. They don't lose many home games throughout the season. And the fact that we've already been there and won, the low of averages showed that we were in contention for a defeat. I actually predicted a defeat. And it's not the defeat that's annoying us. It's more the second half performance, to be honest, because we're shown that we can go toe to toe with them. And this is what I'm saying. We'll have glimmers of hope. The fill with unnecessary or false hope, would I say? The fill us with false hope that we can go on and get 3 points, or we can win a game, or we can draw a game, or be competitive for a full 90 minutes. And then we get a second half performance like that. And I kind of feel like two things went in Arsenal's favour. Now, one thing I am going to say, I never speak bad on referees or want to blame referees, but we got nothing today. That's not an excuse, but Arsenal were going down and he was blown for everything. Now, I just want to put that in there. I don't want to blame the referee because we were our own downfalls, in my opinion, because two things went Arsenal's way at half-time. Botman coming off, because as soon as Botman come off, we lost all of our solidity, all of our shape, our structure. We lost that man to go and press in midfield, whether that be Dan Burn, whether that be Shaw, or whether that be Botman. One of those three was always going in midfield and pressing. And once Botman went off, we lost that. And the second thing that went in their favour is Calafiori coming on, because it was either a genius tactic from Arteta or it was just lucky. Because he was lucky. I don't know if Saliba came off with an injury or it was tactical. If it was tactical, I applaud Arteta, because having somebody like Calafiori that's comfortable stepping in midfield allowed them to create that overload in the second half, and that's why they were starting to break through the lines, and that's why they started to look more dominant in that second half, and that's why they were opening us up a lot more, because they always had that overload. So it was either a tactical genius master plan from Arteta that Eddie Howe just couldn't adjust to, or they were lucky in the fact that Saliba got injured, Calafiori came on, and it just changed the game, because they had somebody that is comfortable in knowing when to step in midfield. That's what killed the game. But I want to say Kiwior was my man of the match today. I thought he ate up everything coming at him today. He was man of the match. If Bruno had kept up with the performance, probably would have been Bruno, but it was Kiwior. Look, we've got one game left of the season. Make it a cup final. Make this game everything. We perform at our maximum against Everton. We get 3 points. We qualify for Champions League football. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, away the lads.